Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are officially on our third coffee break, and we're really excited that you're with us today. These are recorded and they will be posted on our website, so just take a look at the link on the shared screen and you can find them there in just a few days once we get it uploaded. I will be looking kind of down and to the side as I have some questions ready for our guest speakers today. But my name is Rachel Hewerman. I'm the Director of Alumni Relations at Lindenwood. I handle all alumni engagement, events, programming, a lot of virtual events these days. So it's been a very exciting experience, and this is kind of how the weekly coffee breaks came about. I thought it would be a really good opportunity to speak with some of our departments across campus to really get an insight for what other departments are doing during this time and how we can be supporting our students and our alums across the community. So we're gonna get started. If you are having any issues with Zoom, there's kind of some directions on the screen that is shared, so it's best to join with your computer audio. But if for some reason you're having issues hearing anything, just let us know in the chat. Otherwise, this will be uploaded on the website and we'll get it submitted and you can see it there. So I'm excited to have two guest speakers with us today. We have Kara Schille, the Assistant Vice President of University Admissions with us, and we also have Adam Beckendorf, the Assistant Director of Freshman Admissions. So they're really going to be talking about what enrollment management is, how they're recruiting students, and maybe how we can all work together to kind of get our students recruited in school, part of the Line community, and kind of continue to leave the Lindenwood legacy. So Kara, I'm gonna pass it off to you and let you introduce yourself and kind of give us some background of where you ended up, how you ended up today, and where you see Lindenwood going moving forward.
You bet, you bet. Thanks so much, Rachel. Well, as Rachel mentioned, my name is Kara Schille. I have the opportunity to serve as Assistant Vice President of University Admissions in our Enrollment Management and Student Engagement Division here at Lindenwood. And crazy as it is to think, now have 10 years of higher education experience. Really kind of started upon graduating with my my master's degree, kind of dabbled into college athletics and was in the coaching realm for several years, and wanted to get back home. I did both my undergraduate and graduate work at Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana. And St. Genevieve, Missouri is home for me. And so wanted to take an opportunity to get back closer to family and friends here in the state of Missouri, but certainly the region as well. And with that opportunity knocked at Lindenwood to join the admissions team. As one can imagine, a lot of relatables, recruiting college athletes and recruiting, just students in general to a university and a campus setting. So been with Lindenwood since 2014 and have been very blessed, I must say, to kind of see all aspects of the recruitment funnel. Started really on the non-traditional side. And when we talk about non-traditional students, we're really talking about those adult level students, graduate level students, generally those working adults that are looking to come back and further their education, whether that be at the undergraduate or graduate level. And then in 2018, really bridged over and helping oversee direct oversight of university admissions as a whole to include our traditional population. So both traditional high school students looking to come straight out of high school and into a four-year institution, as well as our transfer level students. And so again, it's one of those things, you blink your eyes and you've been at it for 10 years, but I can't say how appreciative I've been of Lindenwood and our respective leadership to give me the opportunity and just to watch, our students, the students grow, the university grow, and ultimate goal is to watch them graduate and go on to be very, very successful alum, which many of you are and have been. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Adam Beckendorf, who is, as I say, my right hand in helping all things freshman admissions.
Awesome. Thank you, Kara. So my name is Adam Beckendorf, and I've been a part of the Lindenwood community for 12 years now, both as a student and staff member. But I've worked in higher education for the past 7 years. So I originally started in Chicago and came down to Lindenwood as a freshman in 2008 as a student athlete. I was actually a part of the competitive shooting program at Lindenwood, and pursued my undergrad and then master's at Lindenwood. And when I started my MBA at Lindenwood, that was my introduction to really working in depth into the admissions world. I was a graduate assistant working in the admissions office, able to recruit traditional students. And that's where I really found that I liked working with prospective students. I really connected with Lindenwood as a student. So it came naturally to try and broadcast that to other students in the area as well. So after the grad assistant position, I decided to stay on and move to a full-time admissions counselor position. And over the years, gained more and more experience. Over the years, I've worked with freshman team, transfer team for a little bit, and recently, a few years back, moved into the assistant director overseeing the freshman team. So I've enjoyed every minute of it. Recently started, I shouldn't say recently, a few years back, started my doctorate program at Lindenwood as well. Just to further my knowledge in the higher ed world and better support the university that way. So pretty quick, but that's my background as well.
Thanks, Adam. So you mentioned, I mean, you have a real sense of Lindenwood and what it entails being a student and all of these things. Probably over the summer, there was a little bit of restructuring for the department. And so enrollment management and student engagement kind of fused together and became the Division of Enrollment Management and Student Engagement. And the way that it was talked about was anytime a student is outside of the classroom, they kind of fall under this umbrella of this division. And so I'm curious to kind of understand how enrollment management fits into that and how you work together with some of your student engagement partners on campus and kind of what that looks like.
Yeah, you bet. This is a great question. And to your point, that kind of merge officially happened this past July. And it's been a phenomenal move. You know, for us in enrollment management, we work so closely with students prior to them getting to campus, you know, obviously through our campus visit program, through the registration process. They're certainly on campus, but, you know, really once they emerge into being full-time students, bridging that gap and collaborating much closer with our SAS office, our student involvement, our first year programs, and some of those other key factors of helping make that transition from, you know, living at home with mom and dad or their respective support systems to, you know, moving into a dormitory for the first time with potentially a stranger as a roommate and you know, trying to make brand new friends and kind of embark on that next 4-year journey. And so it's been a fantastic opportunity for those departments to just be more collaborative and just ensure that our students have a very seamless handoff, if you will, from being a prospective student to being a Lindenwood student. When they officially put those 2 feet on the ground and move-in week and new student orientation kicks off. And this past August was kind of the first opportunity that we were able to see that. I think I'm proud to say that I think it was one of the most hyped and well-received, new student orientation and move-ins that in anticipation that this year will only continue to build on that.
Yes, definitely. So you mentioned prospective students. So maybe Adam, could you talk about the recruitment process and kind of what that looks like and what some of the strategies are with recruiting students?
Sure. So it's fairly extensive, but I'll kind of touch on some of the key pieces that both our traditional programs and non-traditional programs utilize. Whether it was a couple of years ago, the standards have always been, phone calls, emails. A couple of years ago, we introduced texting to us. That was kind of like a huge deal. And now just looking in the past couple months, the amount of technology that we've added to our arsenal, to be able to help recruit has just grown exponentially. So that's been really awesome to see. And we've really seen folks on the prospective student side accept that as well. Kind of one of the closest pieces to that is just the increase in video calls that we have. A year ago, we might have not necessarily had the prospective students willing to hop on a video call and be in their living room or be at their kitchen table talking with us. And now more than ever, we're seeing, yeah, when can we set up those video calls? Because ultimately what we as admissions counselors want to do to build that relationship, no matter who that student is to get face-to-face with them. You know, we don't want to just be a name in an email or a voice on the phone. To have that personal touch, you know, that's what Lindenwood's about. And so we want to have that start as early as the recruitment period, but remain all the way through their time here as well. So that video call has been huge. We've also increased our digital content recently. So, you know, normally in the spring, we host a couple events on campus, and one of those being our big admitted student days, what we call the main event. And, you know, we've had to adjust some of those things because we can't bring in hundreds of students onto campus and their families as well. So we've added pages. Departments around campus have come together to put together these very helpful videos that aren't too long, but still very information heavy on what students can look forward to, what students need to do to take those next steps. But one of those things that we've really seen a big acceptance of and a lot of movement on is what we call Lunch with Lions. And we are going into our third week with Lunch with Lions, and it's been a great success so far. It's every Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon. And every week we host a different office, a different group on campus, so that prospective students can get a gauge of what's happening, whether it's updates around campus, or for instance, this Wednesday, we have our student ambassador group. So current students that are able to share their insight, their experiences of not only their time as a Lindenwood student, but maybe some of the things they went through this spring with some of those transitions. And we're gonna be doing those every Wednesday, all the way till through August when classes begin. So there's obviously a lot of content to share. So we wanna, you know, engage with students all throughout the summer. Another piece we're doing and really have been doing, kind of one of the first colleges in the region to do it is move to a test optional status as well. And so a couple years back, we decided to have a test optional policy. So students at time of application could apply as test optional, where they get to select whether or not they would like their ACT or SAT scores to be factored into their admissions decision. That was ultimately a big decision on our end, but something we thought would benefit the Lindenwood community and bring in a great future class and many future classes. As test scores just play one number into that full admissions review. Last thing we want to do is review a student off of two numbers. And so, you know, that pairs hand in hand with our holistic review. So we look at everything that a student submits, not just GPA, not just an ACT or SAT score. So when we're having these conversations with students and we're getting to know them on a personal level, we can bring all of those pieces in and make that admissions decision off of all those factors instead of just those two. And I know I'm going through a lot, but there's one more piece that I really wanted to touch on. Obviously, there's a lot more than what I'm speaking on now, but the freshman team as well has also been reaching out to all of their high school counselors or many of the big schools in the area. Because ultimately, you know, we see and we hear from students being that they're not walking down their high school hallways every day and being able to pop into their guidance office to get updates, to talk through different questions they have. Instead of just communicating with students, we're also opening that door of communication further with the guidance counselors, with those college counselors in the high school. So we're keeping them up to date on where their students are at, in addition to communicating with those students. And we've really seen a lot of positive feedback from all of that so far.
I know that it's been hard during this time, but it really seems like some of these new initiatives that you've implemented can really benefit and continue on even when we're back in person. And so I think it just goes to show that we'll be able to reach that many more students across the world and just spread the word about Lindenwood. I know that we've always been considered kind of this hidden gem. And so we can definitely share all of the great things that Lindenwood has to offer. So Kara, I'm going to go back to you because Adam talked about the prospective students. So can you talk about how we're supporting our students now and maybe some of the things that our current students are facing and if your department's had anything to do with some of those initiatives?
You bet. You bet. Yeah. I mean, as many folks know, the spring semester kind of wrapped up abruptly, as our students were on spring break and COVID began to hit, and the university acted very swiftly in the appropriate manner to move classes virtual. And so, just tremendous kudos out to the faculty, staff, but most importantly, the students who adapted to that. Something from the enrollment management arm of the university is just understanding financial hardships that students are facing during this time. Whether it's them directly, maybe it's mom and dad, lost their job, went down to a part-time job, and so we're very in tune and understand that financial situations are changing and they're changing daily. And so something that our Student Financial Services Office has been doing is really hearing students out, hearing their story, hearing their current situation and determining how we can help. And so university has done a tremendous job of putting several additional funds together, in large part to our alumni and our current St. Charles and St. Louis community. In addition, the federal government, through the CARES Act funding, did award the institution a very healthy sum of money that we are directly putting back into the pockets of our students that have faced some of those hardships. And so there's an appeal process, and it's all detailed on our website. But essentially, a student just has to raise their hand and indicate kind of what that hardship has been, and supply the appropriate documentation. Our Student Financial Services team kind of picks that up and runs with it accordingly, and works with that student on potentially helping bridge some of those gaps. And that is specifically geared towards terms that were impacted. So spring of 20, and because we are going virtual for our summer session here as well, any hardships that students are facing over the course of this summer. In addition, a new program long before COVID hit was the Lindenwood Advantage program. And this is really a loan repayment assistant program, but this is something the university decided to invest in our incoming class of 2020. And really what it does is it guarantees students after graduation, if they are earning less than $40,000, but they are working at least 30 hours per week. This program kind of helps assist with any student loans that they have may have taken out. So really just a commitment and really hopefully a boost of confidence that we that we believe in the degrees that we produce. We believe in the futures that it's going to help our alumni go on and pursue. And so it has picked up tremendous traction, as you can imagine. As students can sometimes be a little weary on if they want to take out student loans and the repayment options that would come post graduation with those. And so this program has certainly helped them hopefully ease their mind that the degree and the outcome from a financial standpoint is well worth the investment on the front end. And I think the other piece to note that we've done really with our new students, our prospective students, something called an enrollment deposit. And then what an enrollment deposit is, it's basically a $200 commitment that a prospective traditional level student commits to the university to say, yes, Lindenwood is going to be my home for the next 4 years. And that's kind of their ticket to getting registered for the fall semester and working directly with an advisor. We understand right now $200 in many cases, or in some cases, can be hard to come by. So we've implemented enrollment deposit waivers, housing deposit waivers. And so really just trying to help and prospective students not give up on their dreams of college or their plan A's, and making sure that we're doing our part to help that reality stay in place for them and kind of meet them where they are in a lot of cases.
Both of you have said amazing things so far, and this might be a little repetitive, but why should students choose Lindenwood today? I mean, what kind of makes us stand out from other universities, and what are kind of the factors that you're seeing as to why students do decide to choose Lindenwood?
Yeah, Adam, I'll let you piggyback, but I'll kick it off. I think Rachel, you hit it. We so often hear the hidden gem, and while we so often say, how do we stop staying hidden? And further get the word out. When students and families have an opportunity to visit our campus, we highly encourage students, no matter, across the nation, across the globe, to visit our campus and to put the 2 feet on the ground and kind of experience the history, but the growth, all wrapped into one. I think the other piece that really appeals to students who ultimately decide to become Lindenwood Lions is just the breadth and the plethora of not only degree opportunities, but involvement opportunities, a very robust athletic program, both at an NCAA Division II level, at a student life sport level and a club level. And so there's just tremendous opportunity. You've got departments such as in student engagement that says, hey, is there something you don't see, but you want to implement and be able to kind of work with those students to bring new organizations and create new communities within our larger community. So, that's something that we take a lot of pride in. That's something that we talk a lot with prospective students and families, is that they belong. It's just a matter of kind of figuring out where their niche is, and kind of latching on for that next 4 years.
And if I can add to that, obviously I would echo everything that Kara said, but I think now more than ever, just in the past few months, we've seen what a difference having that small school feel can really provide as a service to the students. So, being able to have more of that individual touch and to not feel like a number when you're switching from that in-class atmosphere to a virtual atmosphere. I know that staff and faculty did a fantastic job. We've already gotten student reviews back, and everything is showing that students were on board, students were engaged throughout this transition. And, I think that Lindenwood having that student forward mentality, do everything we can. We call it Q2 service excellence. Do everything we can to make sure that student is having the best experience that they can have. Really shows, not just in theory, but also in execution with over the past few months. There's those relationships that you build with those professors in those smaller classroom environments, that's where they really pay off, because you're able to transition that a lot easier.
Great. So I know that recruiting students and retaining students are kind of the main goals. I like to kind of take these coffee chats as an opportunity to loop it back to alums and how our alumni might be able to help. So do you have any ideas on how alumni can help with maybe the recruitment process or keeping students engaged? And if you don't have an answer, that's fine, but just kind of thinking long-term how we can kind of be a support to you all.
Yeah. You bet. I think sometimes when we get these questions for alumni or just even community partners in general, it's not a matter of taking over the world. It's a matter of, talking to family members, talking to your neighbors, talking to members at your local gym about your experience at Lindenwood. For those individuals who maybe have kids that are just starting the college search process, it is getting earlier and earlier that students are starting to explore those options. So, we host middle school, elementary school, students on campus. So as you have connections with, local K-12 districts, peers and individuals within your respective network, just talking about Lindenwood. And again, hopefully the very rewarding experience and how it kind of, planted the stone in which you kind of built your own respective personal careers on. We talk so often about branding of, again, just wearing your black and gold with pride. And so why those things seem small, I know Adam can attest to this. A lot of the students that end up ultimately deciding on Lindenwood is because mom or dad, my aunt or uncle, a friend of a friend of a friend went here and just had a fantastic experience, you know, has gone on to be very successful, and graduated with Lindenwood with X degree. And so we hear those stories, and I kid you not, we hear those stories daily. And so again, the more that we can just simply get the word out and keep Lindenwood front of mind as an option for not only local kids, but kids across the nation, certainly helps us, you know, continue to grow our enrollment here at Lindenwood.
And if I can add to that, you know, just continue to support Lindenwood in any way you can, whether it's being on these calls, you know, staying up to date on what's happening at Lindenwood, attending events, attending football games, or whatever sporting events that you want to do. But more pertain directly to the admissions side of it as well. Encourage students that you talk to visit. You know, don't just tell them about the university, have them see it for themselves. You know, coming out to visit, it's not an all-day event. It can be if you want it to be, but you know, it's a couple hours to be able to walk through, be guided around campus by someone who's very knowledgeable. You know, we set up individual faculty meetings with students. You know, if you want to talk with someone who's in your degree field. Obviously, those types of things aren't happening today or right now, but once we're back on campus and back in the swing of things, obviously we would encourage you to do that. One of the things I didn't mention earlier was we do have virtual tour options. We're getting ready to post a new video that's a live video that was taped that we're going to be putting up on our website. So a lot of great ways to see campus, whether you're near or far. But so many times I hear, oh yeah, we drive by campus every day, but have never stepped foot on campus. So I would just encourage, whether it's yourself or anyone you know, to take that step onto campus and come see it for yourself.
Great. And somebody just asked, if somebody tells you that they're interested in learning more about Lindenwood, what should they do? Who should they contact? What does that process look like exactly?
Yeah, that's a great question. Several options. Certainly via our website, a student can schedule any type of tour, whether that be an individual tour, a group tour. Our virtual tour option is readily available on our website. If they, to Adam's point, when we are able to have guests back on campus, what we do is we try to individualize that as much as possible. So we ask them, what are you hoping to get from your experience when you're on campus? And then we kind of connect with the appropriate parties to make sure they're able to do that. You can simply call us. We are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. We are readily available. Very strong admissions team that is very knowledgeable in the institution. And so, and we also have our admissions email account. So if there's just a quick question that may be best served to answer over email, admissions@lindenwood.edu. And so to Adam's point, we are readily available. We've got a U-Chat, a live chat feature on our website that we also oversee Monday through Friday. And so if it's during normal business hours, you can undoubtedly get in touch with us in a very quick fashion.
And I know that some alumni might be out of work or, you know, not in a normal situation that they normally are, and maybe are thinking about going back to school. So is this kind of the same process for even somebody who might have graduated a few years ago and wants to come back?
You bet. Yeah, as I kind of kicked off the call, kind of what we call and consider in higher education that non-traditional student, you know, not that traditional coming straight out of a high school or maybe a local community college setting. But absolutely, we over the past 2 years have really revamped a lot of our adult-based programs to be flexible with that working adult in mind that isn't just maybe juggling a work schedule, but is juggling a family and juggling, you know, kids' sports schedules and things of that nature. So really have started gearing our programming towards hybrid models. And so allowing students to move through their education self-paced, whether that be very slowly or very expedited, whether that be virtual, so in an online format, or taking courses on campus, or a combination of both, which is what we see so often. If they're anything like me, quantitative classes, I need to be sitting in a classroom with a peer group and my respective instructor. And so university has made a large commitment to providing hybrid options for just as you talked about, you know, students that are balancing life on top of trying to go back to school.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both so much. I feel like I've gained a wealth of knowledge just in these brief 30 minutes, and I'm sure our alumni feel the same way. So thank you both so much for this opportunity to speak with you both, and really look forward to kind of staying in touch with you and keeping this conversation going, and happy to pass along information as alumni ask questions and things of that nature. But I want to thank all of our attendees for coming to this session. We won't have one next week as it's a holiday, so everybody take your Monday and enjoy your holiday off. Otherwise, we will kick back with the series on June 1, Monday, 9 a.m. Central Time. And Adam and Kara, thank you again. I really appreciate it. At this time, I'm going to stop the recording and stop the webinar, but I just want to thank you and hope that you have a wonderful day.
All right, go Lions.